your biggest challenge right now is that you dread payday. You do not enjoy getting paid as much as you like the money coming in. However, there is that nagging feeling that you constantly have whenever it is payday because you do not like the idea of money going out of your account. And as a result, many of you sit with money in your bank accounts knowing very well that you've got responsibilities that you should be taking care of, and you leave things until last minute, and then the next thing you get calls saying that you did not make the payment on time. So we need to change that in 2024. Leave that behavior behind. And so on today's video, we're going to be talking about how to develop a payday routine that allows you to stay committed and consistent and be disciplined with your finances and making sure that you're on top of your game. So let us get into it. Firstly, let us first define what is a payday routine. A payday routine is simply steps that you follow on a month-to-month basis soon after you get paid to ensure that you are paying for your expenses on time and you are also working towards your financial goals. It's simple and straightforward. It is the steps that you follow when you get paid as soon after you get paid, in order for you to make sure that you pay for your expenses on time as well as work on your financial goals. So on this video, I'm going to take you through some of the steps that you need to make sure that you have in place in order for you to say that you have a solid payday routine. Now, obviously, this may look different from one person to another. However, the process of constructing a payday routine is very similar because you need to make sure that you check these points in order for you to say that, you know what, I think I've developed a payday routine that actually works. But more than anything, there will be time in these steps whereby you need to personalize it to you in order for it to fit your lifestyle. So what are those steps that you need to make sure that you follow when you're developing a payday routine, and a payday routine that actually works, that allows you to make sure that each and every month you're paying for expenses on time and you're working towards your financial goals? Now, I'm going to break this down into chapters. It's going to be it's going to be 4 chapters, and I'm going to take you through each and every one of those chapters. So chapter 1, what is the first thing that you need to do in order for you to make sure that you are developing a payday routine that actually works? So the first thing that you need is to develop a budget. Now, I talk about a budget a lot. I cannot talk about money and not talk about a budget. I cannot talk about a salary and not talk about a budget. I cannot talk about an income and not talk about a budget. The moment there is income that is inflowing in your life, there should be a budget that couples that. The moment you get some money somewhere, there should be a budget that reflects that, because a budget basically reflects what is coming in and what is going out. And without a budget, you cannot do a payday routine, because what are you doing the routine on? You need a budget because the budget is the foundation of your routine. Basically, your budget is what you need in order for you to then say that you are implementing your payday routine, because that is when you are implementing your budget itself. And so you need to develop a budget, and your budget needs to be so good that it allows you to also track what is coming in and what is going out. So how do you then do that? On the previous video, one of the videos that I created, the first video that I created this year, I spoke about having 2 columns in your budget. And the first column is your budgeted, and then the second column is your actual. Now, the actual part is the one that allows you to track your spending. So what happens is you set your budget before you get paid. You do not set your budget on the day you get paid, because what you are doing there, you might actually end up making mistakes or missing some things that you should have paid for because you did not account for them. And so you need to make sure that you set your budget way ahead of time, 10 days before you get paid. Please make sure that you do that 10 days before you get paid. So when you get paid, on the day that you get paid, what you do is you take that budget, you sit down, and then now on the actual column, this is where you're going to be noting down each and every payment that is going out as per your budget item. Now, obviously, somewhere there will be variation here, because you've got variable expenses, you've got fixed expenses. On your fixed expenses, these are things that are constant each and every month in terms of how much money are you paying for these things. And then variable expenses are things that change on a month-to-month basis based on your usage. Like, for example, water and electricity. You find that on those things, they vary from month to month depending on your usage in that month. And so you need to make sure that you set a budget that will you set a good budget that will allow you to not just look at what are you planning to do, but also look at what did you actually do. So the first foundation of a payday routine is a budget. And as I said, set it 10 days before you get paid. When you get paid, you are not setting a budget. You are implementing a plan. You are implementing your budget. Second chapter is understand how your money flows. Now, what do I mean by this? I created a video last year talking about how my money flows from when I get my salary. So what I'm asking you to do here is get an understanding of how your money flows. I'll give you an example with me so that you can take that and apply it to you in terms of, okay, how can I then understand how my money flows? So for me, I have my employer, and then this is me. What happens is when I get paid, there is a deduction for tax, there's a deduction for pension, there's a deduction for some of my debts, which is my bond as well as NSFAS, and then there's other deductions as well, like, what is this, unions, so those are deductions that are taken from the side of my employer. By the time my salary comes to me, all of those things have taken, then I get my salary after all of those deductions. So from there, what happens is it comes into my savings account, which is like my transactional account, and then from there I break it down. So the first thing would be I then make payments into my investments, so then I know that, okay, this much money has to go into my investments. I know that there is another account that I use, which is a savings account that I use for certain debit orders like my water and electricity rates and levies, as well as other things as well. And so what I'll do is I will transfer that total money into that bank account. And then there are also debit orders that take directly from this transactional account. I know those debit orders, and that is how money flows in my account, or basically once I received it. And so it's very important to understand how your money flows, because once you understand how your money flows, you also understand when are these things due. You know that, okay, these debit orders are due here, are due on this date. I know that, okay, this money I have to make sure that I put it on this date. You also know the accounts that you use often enough that you know that, okay, when I get paid, I need to make sure that I'm routing money into this bank account in order for these things to be checked off. I know that sometimes people keep it simple the way they do everything in one account. For me, I like the complications. I like problems. I don't want peace. So I have a lot of things going on, like when it comes to my payday routine, and I found it to help me a lot because there's an account like my FNB account. I use it for certain for deductions for certain subscription. And even last year in December, I almost got scammed by someone sending me an email pretending to be from Netflix, saying that my payment didn't go through. And because I wasn't aware and I wasn't focused, I was just busy with other things, and also it was close to the due dates for me to make the payment on Netflix. I clicked on that thing and I put in my bank details. The next thing, I'm seeing that my bank has been my bank account has been linked to an Apple. Not an Apple, a Samsung Pay. I'm just like, I don't have Samsung Pay, and immediately I reported that to my bank. Immediately I blocked my cards. Even though that experience is not nice, it is not nice to go through that because everything had to be frozen. But I like that I do not just have one account that I do everything on, because be it that I did that with my transactional account, which is my savings account, I am more at risk, but knowing that, okay, I can use this account, which I do not get paid my salary on, then that's an account that I can use to put online for my subscription and all the stuff. Be it that I end up getting scammed, I am not robbed of my entire salary, but only a portion that I've transferred into my account. Just like that last year when I got scammed of that money on my FNB account, it was because it is that account that I use on most of my subscription. I find that my FNB account experiences a lot of threats when it comes to fraud, because it is that account that I use on my subscription, and most of them are international subscriptions. And so I do not want to clump everything in one pot. I like the complications. I do not want peace. I prefer that because I do not want to be linking my transactional account, which is the one that I get paid from, into things such as subscription, international subscription and all the stuff, because I'm exposing it to fraud. So it's very important to understand how money flows into your account. So that is the second chapter. So the third chapter is know when are your expenses due. For me, because I like complications, I do not, all my things do not go out all at the same time. So I've got things that go out when I get paid, like today I just gotten paid, and those things have to go out. They need to be paid for, debit orders have taken, and then I've got things that do not take on when I didn't that are not paid for when I get paid, like my water and electricity rates and levies. I don't pay that when I get paid, because I'm always a month ahead, and so I pay that beginning of each month with the money that I saved on the previous month, or on the when I got paid the previous time. It's confusing, but for me it makes sense. I then pay for that beginning of the month. My MTN contract, I don't pay for that when I get paid. I pay for that end of the month. I also like that because it just makes my account to not always be dry. My accounts are not always dry, but obviously what I do is I do not keep money in my transactional account if I know that it has responsibilities. What I do is I move it to another account within the same account for it to be parked there. For my water and electricity rates and levies, I use another account. I use Time Bank for that. I pack it there, and then when it's time to make the payments, I just make the payments. And so I prefer that system, but I know the point I'm trying to make here is I know things that have to be deducted on the 15th, things that have to be paid on the 15th, and then I know things that I have to pay end of the month, beginning of a new month. And so it's very important that you understand what are those things so that you can make provision for those things. Doesn't mean that you must eat the money. Please do not do that. Doesn't mean that you must then now go take the money and chow it because you know that you are going to pay for it end of the month and you make the plan when it's that time. No, what you do is you make provisions for it by making sure that you take that money and you pack it in a place whereby it is not easily accessible to you, or it's not too much in your eyes. And then you know that it is there waiting for the time, and then when it's close to that date, you just move the money back into your transitional account so that that money can go off. So it's very important to understand when are your things going out. I know that with other people, everything goes out in one day. There's also okay, but it's also very important to know that everything goes out in one day, and for you to not have to wait, sit in a limbo, not knowing when things are supposed to be taken and all the stuff. And then the last chapter is you need to choose the perfect time for you to execute your payday routine. Now that you have these plans in mind, you understand how you have your budget, you understand how your money flows, as well as you know when are things due. Now the next thing is you need to choose the right time that you feel like it's conducive for you to be able to implement this payday routine. I'll make an example with me again. What I do is I prefer mornings when I get paid for me to execute my payday routine. I like mornings because I feel like mornings is quiet, it's not busy, and also some of the debit orders, like in my other account, like my FNB account, they don't go out immediately, they go after 12. And so I just make sure that I put in money when I get paid in the morning into all of these accounts to make sure that when it's time for them to do the debit orders, the money is already there. So I like to do it in the morning, and I find that I don't get a lot of distractions in the morning. But if I do it later on in the day, I find that I get distracted easily with things that are demanding my attention. And so find a time that will work for you to implement this routine. Even when I'm in the office, what I do is when I'll go to the office, and then first thing when I get to the office, I will implement my payday routine. I'll make payments, I'll shift monies, I'll make sure that I'm putting money into my investment, because for me it's just very important to make sure that on that time I'm not disturbed, and I appreciate it when people do not disturb me on that time, and I just focus on that, and then I know that I'm done. So what I do is I allocate a maximum of 20 minutes. So you can allocate between 50 to 20 minutes for you to implement this, depending on how complex your things are. If you get paid a lot, you might find that yours will take longer because you get paid a lot. But for majority of us who get paid an average salary, it's very quick to do these things. Like 20 minutes is quite long. You find that for me it's like 10 to 15 minutes, I'm done. And depending also on how fast the banking apps are in that time, because sometimes when you get paid, you find that there are a lot of people using the banking apps and you find that they are slow. But when everything is fast, 10 minutes to 15 minutes, I'm done, because there's really not a lot going on. I'm also not working with a large sum of money that I need to, move to all these places. It's just few thousands that I have to move there, and then I am good to go. So it's very important that you select time that will work for you and allocate at least a maximum of 20 minutes into your payday routine. Just you focusing and nailing down and just focusing on implementing your payday routine. Those are all the chapters that I wanted to take you through when it comes to creating your payday routine. I really want to encourage you that in 2024, create a payday routine. This does not, it's, as you can see with the chapters, it's not complicated. It's just saying you are planning ahead, and then once you've planned ahead, you sit down, you execute your plan. And once you go with, well, when you start implementing your finances in this way, it will allow you to be on top of your game. It will allow you to be on top of your finances, understand what is happening in your finances. Always be clued up on the things that are happening in your finances, in your bank accounts and all the stuff. And also just understand that, okay, this is how much I expected to get. This is how much I got. Why was that? You know, so you're able to see all of those things and start querying on the things that need to be queried, and start dealing with things that you need to deal with in order for you to resolve them if there are certain problems within your salary. And so it's very important that you make time to have this. And as I said, it doesn't have to be complicated. You just sit down, you plan on this, and then you know that you are done. You are good to go. And then you can go along with your month knowing that your obligations are taken care of, knowing that you did put money in the savings that you planned to put money in the investments that you put your money in. So with that being said, I hope that you guys found value in this video. I'm just going to close it off here and sit down and actually do my own payday routine and know that I'm good for this month, and then we'll see it again in February. With that being said, I'll see you guys on the next one. Please take care and stay safe. Bye.